Hello everybody, it's Amy from Winterwood Studio and welcome to my studio. We're facing a different way today because my ring light stopped working, so I'm hoping there's enough light coming in from the window so that this filming is okay. Today we have a super fun video. We are going to go out into the woods today and we are going to do some sketching and some painting and some drawing. This is part of my series of a new series of videos that I'm making that are all going to be about making art for ourselves. You may have seen in one of my previous videos, I had an epiphany with my art. I'm a people pleaser or a recovering one, and I was making art for other people and their approval and not actually what I wanted to do, which led to some pretty serious art block. So I will link those videos down below because I'm not going to get into all of that again, but they'll be linked down below if you want to check it out. And one of the things that is just for me that I really like to do is to go out into the woods with a little tiny sketchbook and make what I call notes about interesting lines that I see in the forest or interesting light effects or sparkly water or whatever. So today we're going to go out into the woods and I'm going to show you how to make notes that you can mine later for paintings. And then we'll come in and I will show you both the bare bones least I would take into the woods that fits into a pocket, or a slightly smaller kit that I wear in a crossbody bag. And the catch to all of this is that I always go with my dog and she's always on my leash that is attached to my arm. And I'm still able to do this with her attached to my arm. So let's go into the woods and have some fun, and I will meet you back here to talk art supplies and what to take with you. So this is the walk that I go on every single day with our dog. I had some trouble this winter after I first hurt my knee, but this is our walk, and it's about 1.5 miles. And depending on what I'm feeling like that day, I may bring a very, very small bare minimum kit or a bigger one. So I wanted to talk a little bit today about making art for ourselves, something that I was not doing. Like I said earlier, I'll link the videos down below. But when I realized that I wasn't making art for myself, I started to think, okay, well, if I was going to make art for myself, what would I be wanting to do? And what do I find the most enjoyable? And I very, very much like to be out in nature. I like to try to capture nature in my art. I like to try to capture the light, or it's usually light. I really like light, especially on water and trees and in the sky, although I like it in interior things too. But I very much like to use my art as a connection to nature and nature as a connection to my art. And that's probably one of the #1 things that I most enjoy when I am making art. So clearly I need to do more of that. I also like making these notes out in nature, as I was talking about earlier. I like making little scribbly things that might not even look like anything to anybody else, but to me it captures whatever I was trying to capture in that moment. Whether it's like a spot of color or the light, like I said, or an interesting shadow. And I will take you on a flip through of my notes sketchbook from this past couple of weeks in a minute here. So just enjoy this little quick time lapse. I think it's like 30 seconds and I'll be back. Okay, so we're back, and I thought I would show you everything that I packed, and we'll do a little flip through of what I've done this week in my little bag. So This is my more extensive kit for when I go. First, I'll start by showing you. So if I don't want to bring a bag at all, then all I would bring is this. So this is a little tiny pocket sketchbook. It's 3.5 by 5.5. I get these at Walmart. They're like $2. And I will bring one. I like to bring a Neo color because they're water soluble. So this, I go through a lot of these. I've been using this one, I think, for a week and a half now. I don't think I've dated anything in here. But we'll just do a quick flip through so you can see everything I've done. I like to just, like I said, this is for, I don't know if I did say that. I was talking about it on Patreon. These aren't so much for making finished pieces or even like sketches. This is my taking notes so I can mine them for paintings later. So, for example, this first one, this was a pine tree, and then there was probably an ash tree with no branches on it yet next to it. And I really liked how the pine looked like it had little balls on the ends of its branches compared to like the fluffy ends with no leaves of the ash tree. So I made a note of that in this little sketchbook. And this is the little area of cattail and water in the field behind our house. This is one of the reasons why I like to take something water soluble, because once I got back with my water brush, I just wet this down a little bit to give it the appearance of water. I like the shape that this water made around this weird little bit of land that stuck into the middle where the cattails were growing. So I made a note of that in my little sketchbook. This was a hill with a pine, and all the branches were on this side, and there were little baby pines on the ground, but it was just a small hill, and the shadow spilled down and then went straight. And I liked how that looked, so I made a note of it. It's not to be any sort of finished type thing. It's making notes of something I found intriguing that I might want to explore in a bigger piece, if that makes sense. Here's another one. This is a little hard to see, but this was the trail, and I liked how on both sides of the trail it seemed like the trees were sort of curving towards it, like so that it was like curving in. I don't know if I got that on the video, but I liked that, so I made a little mark of it. These were some twisty old trees with it's spring. So these are ramps. They smell like garlic or onion if you pick them. A lot of people like to pick them and pickle them. And I liked how they were clustered around the bases of the trees. So I made a note of that. This was an interesting, there was water behind this tree, and it had an interesting root system and then like a rock stuck in this part of the root growing out of it. So I made a note of that. It's very, very fast. I always have the dog, her leash on this wrist, and I'm holding her, and I'm holding this in the other hand. This was another tree with, it had moss growing just on the bottom, and then this tree had lichens growing up the side, but also moss just on the bottom, and I liked how it looked like whiskers coming out of the tree, so I made a little note of that. And daffodils from the front yard, a little note of that, and I switched to a different color today just to see if I liked it. I tend to use this color blue, I think. Night blue is the one I tend to use the most, but I'll use other blues. I don't think I really like this green. You saw me doing this one. This is what's left of the rock wall back there. It used to be a farm for cows like 100 years ago. And that's what's left of the rock wall that's back there, and I liked how the trees were growing out of the rock wall. So those are the little ones, and like I said, if I always have this in my pocket when I walk the dog, just these two things for making notes. But then if I feel like taking more, like I did today, I'll take out everything so you can see. This bag is very old. It's like 20 years old. I think it was my mom's, and she gave it to me when she didn't want it anymore. The first thing, here, I'll put this back in here because we'll get to that. The first thing I always take is this, or this size little sketchbook. This is a Royal Talons. I don't know if I said this. This is a $1 roundie. You can't get these at Blick. I don't know. Like I said, I just go in at my Walmart and get them, and they're $2 a piece. And I buy like 6 at a time. These, I think, are not very much either. Are they the same size? They are the same size, and if you had a big enough pocket, you might even be able to fit that in there, but it's thicker, so it's not quite as easy to fit. But again, this is a note-taking sketchbook, so I liked how the light was coming through my window and illuminating, like shining through the bottom half of the leaves on this plant, but not up here. So I made a little note of it. And then our dog was asleep on the couch, so I made a little note of it. And I was trying to figure out like how I would want it. This is the Apostle Islands National Lakeshore from a photo I took 2 years ago. And I was just like playing with how would I abstract this if I was going to abstract it. I'm going to talk about how to seal your pages in a minute too. This is Conte crayon that I was just swatching. And this is one of the little sketches I made today. I liked how all the little branches and grass were sticking out of the water. I wished I had had a white pastel with me, which I didn't. I thought I did, but I didn't because I wanted to put in some of the sparkles from the sun on the water back there. That's a vernal pool. My son, who wants to be a zoologist, told me that. It's not there all the time. It's only in the spring that it's there. And then you saw me doing these quick, or you will see me doing these quick. I kind of wish I hadn't added that super dark color there, but that's okay. I'm not sure, speaking of which, this is my art toolkit palette. I'm not sure what I have in here. I thought it was watercolors, but man, I almost always paint with Daniel Smith watercolors. And whatever, I mix this yellow and this red, and that's almost like wash. I don't know what I have in here. I would have thought it was Daniel Smith, but I could be wrong. Because that didn't feel like Daniel Smith to me. So I don't know what I was painting with. But this is my, and I can't find the little sheet that I normally keep with this. This is, I think, does it say what it is? No. I love this thing. It's very small, so you can take it pretty much anywhere with you. It's a lovely travel palette. And then I always take just a little handful of paper towels, and I usually take 1 or 2 colored pencils. I just had one today. This is the Indigo, right? Indigo. I can't read it without my glasses, but I'm sure it's Indigo because that's my favorite sketching pencil, blue from the Caridash Luminance line. And then I have a couple water pens, and one of these is Arteza and one is not. This is the Arteza, and these are just like the other one's a cheap knockoff that I got on Amazon. I recommend the Arteza. The cheap knockoff, the cap screws the wrong way, and I cannot for the life of me remember that, so I'm always like, oh, it's stuck. I prefer the Arteza, even though they're a little bit more. And then I just throw a bunch of both pastels and neocolors in the bottom of the bag. I took more today than I would normally take, but we'll just take them out so I can show you which ones. Oh, and I also always have these little scraps of paper because then if you have something like this with a Conte crayon, you can, and you have something on the other side, you can go like that to protect the page. Or, and this is another option, I will often stick this in my purse. This is the Spectrafix Fixative. It's odor-free, non-toxic, all-natural, and you just spritz it on your paper and let it dry. Sometimes it needs a couple coats. You can buy the concentrate and refill it with water so you don't have to buy a big whole thing every time. This is the larger size. It works pretty good. It won't yellow your pages like hairspray. I know a lot of people use hairspray, but that will eventually yellow your pages. And then if you want to do something a little bit more permanent, these are the 2 best fixatives I've ever found. They're a little bit more expensive, and they definitely are stinky and probably toxic. I only spray these outside. This is the soft pastel fixative from Sennelier, and this is their oil pastel fixative from Sennelier. I will use this on a page where I use oil pastels. This is for soft pastels, charcoal, smudgy graphite, anything that's kind of powdery. A couple coats of this, and it's that nothing's going anywhere. Like, you can spray this right directly on oil pastels and then probably 2 or 3 coats, let it dry in between. And it is like, it's not an oil pastel anymore at all. It's like a perfectly hardened painting. This was a game changer for me for oil pastels. Just wanted to recommend those. And then, like I said, so I only own a few Caran d'Ache Neo pastels. So I have some Pentels mixed in here. The Caran d'Ache Neo pastels are a little bit softer. They're much nicer, and they don't stink. The Pentels often stink. That's a Neo color too. The Pentels stink. Not often, they do. They always stink. The Caran d'Ache don't have a smell, and they, you can find out what pigments are in them, and they are also, light fast rated, whereas the Pentels are not light fast rated. Most oil pastels are not light fast rated. Sennelier oil pastels are light fast rated, but they are very, very, very soft, like lipstick. So I would not pack those to take with me. I would like more of these Neo pastels. They are expensive. I would like the whole set at some point, but they're expensive, so I don't have them right now. I will often throw in a little handful of the Pentels. They stink badly. They're not light fast, most likely. They're super, super cheap, and they are harder, so they don't smear everywhere. These are also harder. Not as hard. Oh, I don't know. Should we test it quick? Let's test it. Let's see which one's harder. So there's a Neo Pastel, and here is a Pentel. The Pentels are harder. The Neo Pastel still feels somewhat creamy, like an oil pastel should. These feel almost like a waxy crayon, like a softer waxy crayon. Not as hard as the Neo colors, obviously. And then I really like the Neo colors to take because, like I said, they are water soluble. Which is nice because sometimes I might want to soften a line or do a little bit of color. Something else that I would really like to take with me, but I don't have them to do it at the minute. I just grabbed my little drawer. These are the Derwent Inktense sticks, and I would like more of these. I really like them for both their water soluble properties, which I will just show you quick here, but also they make really nice marks. And they're a little bit smudgy, but obviously not as smudgy as a oil pastel, which is super smudgy. And even a Neo Color 2, they're probably a little, but the Neo Colors do feel waxy, whereas these feel almost like you're drawing with charcoal, so it's really nice. I'd like more of these. I would like more of these. I really enjoy these. I think that might be the next thing I get for myself at some point. And then something else that I will often take, but I didn't take with me today, if I feel like taking like a pencil and a water brush and this art graph. This is fun for doing black and white and gray type things. I'll just show you this. It's really fun to work with. It's another fun supply. So those are my most basic kit for taking with me when I'm going for a walk in the woods. This is a crossbody bag. I like that because I don't have to carry it because I'm holding the dog's leash. So I think that's everything I was going to show you. So I hope you liked that video today. Sorry about the way the camera's facing. Hopefully it was okay. It was a last minute thing. I'll have to order a new ring light, I guess. If you would like to learn more about making art for yourself or learning to enjoy art, we're talking about it over on my Patreon this month. And there's some more like plein air stuff and what I packed up and other things like that for this month. So if you want to check that out, that will be linked down below. It's only one tier. It's only $5. Check it out if you want. If you haven't hit the like or subscribe button or left a comment here yet on this video, I would love it if you did. That is a free, no-cost way for you to help support my channel and help YouTube know this is good quality videos and not crap. And it helps support my channel. So thank you for being here with me today. And until next time, happy creating.